After a long wait, the 1994 Formula 1 season is finally upon us. Before we talk about the teams and drivers that will make it this year, let's take a look at the calendar for this season. We start the year at Interlagos for the Brazilian Grand Prix, a fan favourite, before heading to Octopolis for the Pacific Grand Prix, the track's first outing after just missing the cut for 93. Then the European leg begins at Donington Park, who once again hosts the European Grand Prix, followed up by the San Marino Grand Prix at Imola. Barcelona will once again look to impress fans for 1994 before the yearly trip to Monaco to see Damon Hill's first career win. A brief pause brings us to Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix before continuing the European leg at Manicourt in France. Silverstone, the birthplace of Formula 1 as we know it, will kick off the second half of the season, followed up by the German forest of Hockenheim. Hungary is afterwards, but then the two crown jewels of the season are back-to-back, Spa-Francorchamps and Monza, two fast tracks that always seem to bring a load of action. The European season ends at Estoril before flying to Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix, and then finally ending the season at Adelaide. Now, with no further delay, let's look at the teams and drivers that will be competing this season. Last year, reliability woes prevented them from being able to take the Constructors' title, but with Senna winning the Drivers' Championship in '93, he's confident enough to paddle alongside Johnny Herbert for 1994. McLaren will once again use Ford engines, though they were supposedly close to using a customer Peugeot engine instead. In any case, Senna will try and go for a fourth driver's title, as Johnny Herbert will look to try to improve, and perhaps even beat his teammate Senna in some races. Testing, however, has shown that they are not as dominant as they were in 1993, so they will need to work extra hard to give them both the Constructors' and Drivers' title, being with one of the two drivers on board. 1993 was the first time since the team's formation that they didn't score a single point during the season, and things look bleak for Tyrrell, who have so much history behind them. They elect to keep the same pairing of 1993 as Ukyo Katayama stays with the team, ensuring another season with the Yamaha engines, whilst the 28-year-old Blundell will need to find something to prove his belonging in Formula 1, as his best finish so far has been 9th place. It's likely that it will be another season to forget for Tyrrell, given how their pace and testing hasn't been indicative of any improvements, so they'll need upgrades fast to make sure that they survive even past this season. Benetton might not have been the fastest team towards the end of 1993, but reliability paired with drivers like Michael Schumacher and Martin Brundle have proven vital to achieving their first Constructors' title in their entire history. Brundle was a standout performer for 1993, as he earned 3 wins and ended the season equal on points to his teammate of Schumacher. They both showed similar pace to the McLarens during testing as well, but reliability might have crept back in due to regulation changes throughout the season, since they only ran 772 kilometers, which is the 5th lowest anyone has ran throughout testing. This may be a pivotal moment for the team, and it's up to them to choose which route they'll take. 1993 was nothing short of a disaster for Williams. Alan Prost's return ended up being for naught since he was outscored by Patrese, and the team only managed to score 2 wins all season, a far cry from what they achieved in 1992. With that in mind, it's not surprising that the team have made some big changes this season. As the team welcomes Damon Hill, they'll have to say goodbye to Riccardo Patrese, as he's confirmed that this year will indeed be his last. Despite all the apparent doom that is currently surrounding the team, the crew have made a car that can only be described as bad fast. They have consistently beaten every other team and have had the reliability to back themselves up. This season will likely be decided between Hill and Patrese should Williams not falter as the season continues on. An impressive 3 points at Hungary saved footwork from going pointless, but the absence of Michele Alboreto will be felt throughout the whole team. Christian Fittipaldi will make the 7 to Formula 1 for the first time, placing Alboreto, as he's been paired with Aguri Suzuki, which means footwork will still be Mugen powered. Testing indicates that footwork will still be around the midfield once again for 1994, and like many others that surround them this time, they'll be looking for upgrades that will shoot them further up the field. However, how far they will shoot up the field and if they'll get those upgrades remains to be seen. Lotus shocked everyone in 1993, with the team far surpassing expectations. They even won the 1993 Monaco Grand Prix with Damon Hill, giving them their first win since Detroit all the way back in 1987. With Hill now gone to Williams, however, they decided to bring out the reserve driver of Pedro Lamy to join Mika Hakkinen, with ease knowing that they shouldn't have to deal with selling the team for at least a couple more years. This year the car has been a bit of a setback compared to 93, so there shouldn't be any unexpected surprises like the one that happened in Monaco, but eyes will still be on Lamy and Hakkinen to perform this season. A marked improvement over 92 saw Jordan finishing the points more often, even without the power of Michael Schumacher. Karl Weidlinger has been proving his worth within the Irish team, whilst the gamble on Rubens Barrichello seems to have paid off. Both drivers will remain in the team for 1994 this time around. Their pace is similar to that of the Lotuses as we discussed previously, however they have some of the worst reliability this year which may hamper them during the season. Despite this, Jordan have hopes that they'll perform much better than they did last year. With their financial situation as dire as it is, Lewis may not be able to survive past this year, but either way they'll show up this time for 1994. The pairing of Alio and Bashu won't show much on the track since it was their sponsors that got them the seats this year instead of raw talent. Despite this, if there was ever a year where they needed to outperform themselves to survive, this has to be the one. They're only barely faster than the 3 new teams on the grid for this season, and with resources so low this season, upgrades may be few and far between, so they'll have to make the best of the machinery that they got. Having now merged with Scuderia Italia, Minardi are looking for a fresh start to the season, with a new livery that has none of the primary colours that either Scuderia Italia or Minardi themselves have shared throughout their entire existence. Gianni Morbidelli stays within the team for another season, but the team ought to replace Minardi with the relatively unexperienced Luca Badoa, who only debuted last season. Whilst the team hasn't moved up or down the pecking order if testing is anything to go by, their reliability during the testing has been atrocious, as they've only completed 600 kilometers throughout the 3 days, roughly totaling to about 2 races over 3 days. They'll have tons of work to do to fix their reliability should they actually have the funds to do so, and it will be an uphill battle for the team this season. This year coming to 1994 with loads of optimism coming off the back of a podium at Australia last season. Though the loss of Thierry Boutin will sting a bit for the team, new rookie Olivier Panis looked to be a good fit for the team as he's already looked on par with his experienced teammate of JJ Leto. Good times also seem to be ahead for the French team, as not only do they have great reliability out of all the other teams, but they've also managed to put up fast lap times throughout all 3 days of testing, sometimes even getting on par with the big teams. Maybe this could be the year that Ligier could win for the first time since 1981, since the Canadian Grand Prix that season, but only time will tell if this comes to fruition. Despite a turbulent season, Ferrari still keep their drivers from last year, which is somewhat of a miracle considering that Berger only finished 3 races throughout the entirety of 93 and was even considering retirement before deciding to race again in 1994. Alesi, on the other hand, has thoroughly proved that he belongs in this sport as he dragged the car to 27 points and even claimed a couple of podiums along the way. Even with the competition they are up against considering the car that they have, Ferrari still only have one goal in mind: to win races. Anything less than that will not suffice for the pricing wars, so if Ferrari want to show that they have improved over last year, it has to be now. A very tumultuous first season for the Swiss outfit saw them only score 2 points courtesy of Roberto Moreno, with teammate Bartels not doing as much and often found towards the back of the pack. The team elected to replace him with fellow countryman Heintal Frentzen for 94, but they'll need to find a replacement for Roberto Moreno, as like with Tracy, he's retiring at the end of the year. The team is looking up though, as compared to last year, the car is much more competitive, often appearing up towards some front half of the midfield, so points may be on the cards more often for them this time around. The first of 3 new teams entering the sport this year is Simtek, who, having previously made chassis for different teams such as Andrea Moda, have decided to enter the world of Formula 1 under the Simtek banner. They decided to bring along Jos Verstappen from German Formula 3 and Roland Ratzenberger from Japanese Formula 3000 as their driver lineup, and they hope to prove their fate the team has put into them in their first season in Formula 1. Testing has shown that they are the worst car on the grid by far. However, with the team's experience in making chassis for different teams, they could possibly move out pre-qualifying should their budget allow for such a thing. This is definitely a team you want to keep an eye on for this season. Pacific move on up after a successful Formula 3000 season, having taken the Constructors title, and they're confident that their move up to Formula 1 will not be a struggle at all. They bring up David Coulthard, who drove for them during their 1993 campaign, and gamble on a young Gilles Defern, as Frentzen is left for Sauber, as we already discussed earlier. Like Simtek, they're a bit towards the back of the field, though not as badly as they are. But as this is their first Formula 1 outing at all, upgrades may be harder to come by for them, but their budget could allow for more upgrades than Simtek, so only time will tell. Regardless, they'll give it their best shot this year no matter what happens. The final new team entering Formula 1 is a surprise to many people in the paddock, as Peugeot make their debut. Many expected them just to supply engines to different teams, but Peugeot seem confident that they'll be able to perform in Formula 1 to a high enough degree to be a mainstay team for many years to come. They signed an all-French lineup of Thierry Boutsen and Eric Bernard to take them into their first year, and they are currently the best of the 3 new entries this year by far. Hopefully we'll see good performance for them to stay, but only time will tell whether they'll stay in Formula 1 for long, or they'll pull out later down the line. And with that concludes the full roster of who will be competing in the 1994 Formula 1 season. Tune back in when we return into Lagos for the first race of the season.